Hello and welcome to another video here on AV Forums. I'm Phil Hinton, I'm the editor, and in this video we're going to look at the best out-of-the-box settings for the Sony A90J and the Sony A80J OLED TVs. The settings we're going to show you are applicable for both of those TVs. So let's get into it. We're going to look at standard dynamic range content. So that's everything that's SD and HD through your TV and Blu-ray and DVD discs. So to do that, we're going to go into the settings and we're going to select picture settings from the menu. From there, we look at picture mode, and the best out of the box picture mode is custom on the Sony A80J and on the A90J. So we're going to select that and we're going to move down the menus. Auto picture mode, we're going to leave that off. Light sensor, we're going to leave that off as well because we want the most accurate image out of the box towards the creator's intent, how it was mastered and how it's intended to be seen. In brightness, we're going to leave everything at default in here, and gamma at -2 matches BT1886 for the gamma, so we're going to leave that as default as well. Black level, we're going to leave that at default, and as well as the black adjustment and the advanced contrast enhancer, we're going to leave that switched off as well. Peak luminance, we found through measurements there's not a great deal of difference here, but we left it at medium because we watch the TV in a slightly dim room. You can put that up to high and it won't impact too much on the accuracy from the TV. Going into colour, we're going to leave everything at default here, and obviously colour temperature expert 1 is D65 white point, which is the white point we want if we want to watch content as it was mastered and intended to be seen. Moving on to clarity, sharpness we're going to leave at the default. Reality creation, this could be down to personal choice. We like to leave it off just to preserve the content as it was intended to be seen, but you could add reality creation in there and adjust the resolution. And we're also going to leave noise reduction off, both digitally and the random, and smooth gradation. Yeah, you could put that to low. If you're watching some bit starved content, it may be worthwhile putting smooth gradation to low. In this case, we're feeding a really high 4K signal, so we're going to leave that switched off. Then moving to motion, we're going to leave motion flow off on this TV because we want to see content as it should be seen, and 5.5 pull down is applied with motion flow switched off, so we're going to leave that switched off for 24 frames per second material. Film mode, you can leave that on high, or with fast cut material like broadcast material, we found that low tends to work the best without frame skipping with fast cuts and so on. Leaving it switched off defeats the cadence detection for interlaced progressive conversions, so low or high is probably the best settings there. Video signal, we're going to leave everything default there, and advanced color adjustment, again this is the best out of the box settings. We're not using a meter or software to calibrate the TV. If you want a TV calibrated, there are lots of independent calibrators out there where you can go and hire their services and they will do a fantastic job for you. That's not the point of this video. We're looking at the best out of the box settings, so that's standard dynamic range, SD and HD material covered. We'll go to HDR10 next. So we're now feeding the TV HDR10 signal. The disc that we're using is a Spears & Munsell UHD disc. It allows you to set Dolby Vision, HDR10 plus HDR10 content. So that's what we're doing. For you to do this, just feed the TV an HDR10 signal. You can find that from 4K UHD Blu-ray, or you can also find that from Netflix or Amazon or some other provider. Streaming wise, you should be able to find some HDR content. That's what you need to feed the TV before hitting the picture settings. And once again, in HDR, and we know it's HDR because it's flagged at the top of the menus here. We're going to leave it at custom in the picture mode. That is the best out of the box setting for HDR on the Sony TV, so we're going to leave that set to custom. We're then going to come down, auto picture mode off, light sensor off, because again we want accuracy with our image. In the brightness, we're going to leave everything at default here, and the one to mention here is HDR tone mapping. We're leaving that at gradation preferred. This is the setting to use if you want to follow the HDR10 standards and you want PQ EOTF to track correctly. and then to roll off correctly with the TV's tone mapping. Gradation preferred is ideal for that. We've measured it. You can see it in the review how accurate it is. So that's what we would suggest that you set here. If you go to brightness preferred, obviously it over brightens everything and it starts to clip detail, and it's far too bright in the midtones and lower in the picture, so it doesn't look particularly good with brightness preferred. So like we say, gradation preferred is the correct setting for HDR tone mapping. Black level, black adjust, contrast enhancer and peak luminance, we're going to leave all of those on the default. Once again, into color temperature, expert 1 is correct. It is D65 white, which is what we want. We're going to leave live color switched off. Then moving into clarity, again we're going to leave these most of these in the default settings. Again, reality creation switched off because we want to see the detail in the image without adding any edge enhancement and so on to the image. Again, noise reduction, we're going to leave these switched off, and smooth gradation, because we're sending it such a high quality signal, we're going to leave that off, but again you could set it to low. Next, moving to motion, and again with motion flow we're going to leave that switched off for film based material at 24 frames per second. If you're watching high definition HDR content such as sports and so on, you could add in motion flow. That is going to be through personal preference there. Once again, film mode we're going to leave that at default, and video signal and advanced color adjustment we're going to leave those at the default settings, and that's HDR 10. Next we're going to do Dolby Vision. So once again we're feeding the TV UHD Blu-ray Spears and Mansell the UHD 4K disc with the demo footage, and we can select what we want to show that in. If you want to go to Dolby Vision material, then you can find Dolby Vision material on Netflix, some on Prime Video. Disney Plus is a good platform as well for Dolby Vision material. You want to be playing that before you press the picture settings button, and we're going to go into the Sony here, and we're going to go into Dolby Vision Dark. This is the most accurate out of the box setting for Dolby Vision. It gets us as close as possible to what the content creators mastered the material at and how it's intended to be seen. So that's what we're going to select here, and we're basically going to leave most of the settings here in their default settings, but we'll go through them very quickly. So light sensor switched off for obvious reasons. We're then going to go to brightness, and we're going to leave these, all of them, in the default settings. HDR tone mapping, that has to be switched off with Dolby Vision content, so you leave that switched off, and obviously the dynamic metadata takes care of all the tone mapping there. And then once again, black level, black adjust and contrast enhancer, we're going to leave those off. Peak luminance is set to high because it's HDR, we're going to leave that as default as well. And then going into color, color wise, color temperature wise, expert 1 is correct. D65 is the Dolby standard, which is why it's set to that for Dolby Vision, so we're going to leave that at default. And again, live color switched off. Clarity wise, sharpness, we're going to leave that at default. Again, reality creation switched off as we've explained, and these are all switched off. For some reason Dolby Vision adds in smooth gradation low. If you don't want that, you can obviously switch that off. Then move into motion, and again motion flow, what we want to do with motion flow is switch that off. For 24 frames material, film material, we want that switched off, so we get 5.5 pull down. Film mode we're going to leave at the default as well, and video signal at default. And the advanced color adjustment, again we're not going to touch that. And that's it. That's the best out of the box settings for Dolby Vision. And remember, you need to send a Dolby Vision signal to the TV before you can make these adjustments. And that's it for this video covering the Sony A80J and Sony A90J best settings out of the box. If you've enjoyed the video, then please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you for the next video very soon.